Our next keynote speaker for the day is Ms. Richi Agarwal, founder and principal consultant for RA Consulting. Richi has 2 decades of rich and valuable experience in consulting, management, and marketing. Through RA Consulting, she coaches and mentors client teams and supports the execution of marketing and business plans. She has founded Asar Initiatives Foundation, an organization that works with the underprivileged to improve their vocational skills and daring skills to enable income amelioration. In her latest project, she is working on the capacity building of farmers in one of the most backward regions of Uttar Pradesh. One of the major sources of the farmers' income is from the milk that they sell. Through this project, she aims to enhance their income by implementing the best practices in the dairy industry, resulting in increased milk production through good feed, fodder, and better cattle health. With that, we welcome Ms. Richi Agarwal.
But the real question is, where are we going to take the future?
There are no closed doors, no walls.
Holy mackerel, this is unbelievable.
We may have brain surgeons in Edinburgh operating on patients in New Zealand.
Understand emotions, feelings, memories. Imagine a world where we are represented the way we want to be.
In the future, it just feels like long distance won't be so distant.
It's a big future. Where do you want to go?
And we're just getting started.
Appreciate the past, utilize the present, but don't be afraid to create the future.
This is courtesy Facebook. You know, they are bringing in their new thing, which is called Metaverse, and I have just borrowed it from there. This is just to talk about the things that are happening these days. We are all talking about this elite class, elite world where we are getting into virtual reality. We are going to have workrooms because now the pandemic has taught us that we definitely need certain type of workspaces which are not physical, which will be utilized when we are not able to come to each other physically. Then we are talking about virtual meeting rooms. We are also talking about augmented reality. Doesn't this look fascinating? How many of us want to work in such organizations? I want to. You all don't want to? What about others? No? Okay. So then where do you want to work? Well, this is the real world. Even today, as we speak, according to a research published in 2020, 65% of Indian population still stays in the villages. So what did you all learn in the morning? Tell me a couple of points, because I know you will not be able to ask me questions. By the time I finish, you all will be like so excited about working in the rural India, rural world, that you will be already talking to me about how can you work there. So tell me first, what did you learn since morning? 1 or 2 points, if you can summarize, what did you learn? Anybody? Yes.
So, ma'am, earlier the morning conclave was about gender and diversity. So we were learning about how diversity can be there and can be more acceptable towards, different things. And so we should be including more people. So that's what we are discussing.
Right.
Yeah. Diversity and inclusion was the key.
Yes.
Yeah.
So bringing in diversity is easy. And now I think we are also getting aware of the fact that we have to be diverse because there are so many inherent benefits to it. What are the benefits? We know that we make workplaces better, not only women, but talking about other caste, creed, sex, all the entire type of diversity that we are talking about. So if we are bringing in that diversity, the benefits are there, which means you will be performing better, your organizations will be able to deliver much better financially, leave alone work culture wise. So now, what is it that we should be doing to include this in our work culture? Because bringing in people together is one thing, but how do we include them? That is the larger question today. Now we all are aware about bringing in diversity. And now when we say that 65% of Indian population is in the villages, which means, can you leave them? Can you not include them in your growth plans? And what is the way these people work? How do these people live? What is their main source of income? Agriculture? Right? What happens when there is a drought? What happens when water dries up? Which is very normal these days. So what is it that they are relying on? They are relying on cattle industry, animal husbandry. Okay, so who is the one? Who is that person who's actually responsible for executing this activity in the household, the village household? It's the woman of the household, right? Now, it is very easy for us to say that the woman of the household is the one who will be taking care of all these activities. But then, do you know what is the kind of work that is done if we are looking at somebody who's taking care of the cattle? We as humans go to the washroom primarily once in the morning. Is there a time for my cow or buffalo? Can you limit it? Only this much of dung will be there. So somebody has to take care of those little activities. Now when we are talking about inclusion, we are talking about including these people who are actually working with the cattle and working to get income for their household. So how do we do this? See, I'll give you an example of Shantaben. Shantaben is a tribal woman from a very remote village in Valsad. She was actually a part of this group. There are cooperatives, there are groups of people who collect the milk and then send it to the factories. So she was a part of this group where they used to collect milk and send it to the factory for processing. Now, this particular group closed down because they were not able to supply a minimum viable quantity of milk to the factory. So then Shantaben decided, okay, what I'll do is that I will revive this group, revive this activity. And for this, she wanted to go for a training which was happening at Valsad Union. But she could not go. Why? She did not have a sari to go. She did not have a sari to wear and go to the training. So the Valsad Union leaders sent her a sari and sent her 200 rupees cash so that she could travel for that training. Just imagine, she had 2 sons. She was not able to feed them also. And that is why she decided, okay, I will do this and I will in turn benefit other women also in my village. Because after all, how many of y'all have seen maids work at your home? All of us have seen, right? Why do maids work? Why can't they sit at home and do cooking and make merry?
Finances. For support the family.
They also have to fend for their families, right? So Shantaben actually revived that group in that village, and she got an award also for running this particular dairy in a most amazing and efficient manner. And now they deliver almost 1200 liters of milk every day to the union from their village. I'm going to talk to you about Sudhaben in a moment, But I would like to know why this diversity and why this inclusion is important as far as these group of people is concerned. Why should we bring in inclusion of these people? I'm sure they'll be able to eat something or get something for their lives, no? So why is it important? It is important because the basic level of human dignity is very important for survival. If I keep taunting you on why you should be given a certain thing, a certain benefit, will you be able to accept that thing and live life throughout? You will know in a moment what I'm talking about. So, how did it all start? I'm taking you 20 years back how it started. They bought a washing machine and she was on the jhula and her husband came from outside and said, "Acha, washing machine le liya hai na, isliye jhula jhul rahi ho." You have no right. Basically, it translates to saying that you have no right to do all this. Go back, get back to work. Why are you resting? Why are you enjoying life? And then she decided that this is not going to happen. This is not what she wants in life. And then the entire story started. Collected women, started pouring in milk, and now leave alone the kind of things that she is doing in her house, bringing in vacuum cleaner and other equipment. But she sold a calf, actually a female calf, and she bought a huge necklace for herself. Isn't it amazing? Doesn't it feel nice? Imagine yourself in place of this woman. If you are not working here, will you have that kind of respect in the family? Would you be able to command that respect if you do not have a certain social standing? Because your father has married you off. So are you able to fend for yourself? Just imagine. Now take yourself back to the rural setting. What happens? The father and mother has married off the girl. The woman does not know what is happening to her because she doesn't go out of the house. She's only working in the house from morning 4:30 till night because she has to take care of the entire food, all the other activities of the house, as well as take care of the cattle. Because this guy is going to step out. This model in the activity that we were doing in Uttar Pradesh. So we are working in one of the remote villages in Hardoi district. If you have little idea of Uttar Pradesh, Hardoi is one of the most backward regions in UP. And we are working with 3,000 farmers in this district. This is the picture of Sudha Ben where she is conducting meetings. She is the chairman of her society now. And she has actually made cow dung, using the cow dung and all, she's made a biogas plant for her house, and she has also put up solar panels in front of her house so that she is able to fend for electricity, she is able to fend for gas for herself, and she is able to take care of her household in her own way. And she has a lot of calves and a lot of, this is her group of women, just to share a perspective of where she is today. Now we thought that we want to take this model and replicate it in UP. So what happened when we called for a meeting, we saw that all men turned out for the meeting. So what is wrong here? Who is actually taking care of the cattle? Women. And we wanted to do this activity, we wanted to tell the farmers and the villagers about how they should take care of cattle so that the cattle remains healthy, they are able to give good amount of milk, good volume of milk, quality of milk, and then they are able to be more prosperous. What is the ultimate objective? Prosperity. Their prosperity, not mine. So all the men collected and we thought that things are going really well. So we gave a lot of knowledge, information, trainings to these people. But we realized that the story remained the same. Nothing was changing. Because who was the actual caretaker of the cattle? The woman in the house, and she was not here. So this guy, he would take the training, go back home, eat and make merry. The training was actually not getting benefited people were not getting benefited because of the training. So then we thought that we should actually work with the women. Look at some of the women have turned up, but where are they sitting? Ekdam piche. So then how do we do this? Because our group of trainers, the ones who were working in these villages, they were all men. So the women didn't come for the trainings. So we thought of bringing in inclusion and diversity in our team as well. And these are the points that we have taken from one of these reports that were published by McKinsey. But let me not take you through this. What I'll take you through is how we did it, because that is more important. We took in female workers who would actually go and meet with the ones who were actually working with the cattle. Now, was it easy for us? Bringing in inclusion is extremely difficult. Why? The first level of difficulty comes in where? In my own team. My team said, "Arey, ye ladki ko kaun sambhalega? How will I take care of this girl now? What if something happens to her? What if she is roaming around here and there? What answer I will give to her parents?" On the other hand, the organization which was supporting us, they said, "Arey, why have you taken girls? They will not be able to deliver." Why they will not be able to deliver? नहीं, उनको आता नहीं है ना. Okay. So we thought that because this was one of the agenda that we had, we wanted to show an impact. So we brought about certain changes in the organization. We sensitized people, the group of team members who were already there, to bring in women on our panel so that we are able to reach out to the actual worker. And these women not only interacted with females in the villages but also male. And we have improved the quality of life of the cattle to such an extent that the income amelioration has happened up to 20%. Look at this. Here, the training is happening with all the women now. With all the improvement that we have brought about, now the women turn up for the meeting. Here we see now the women are in the forefront as compared to the men. Because that is more important for them. The women are participating and taking their own decisions, making how we are able to deliver and do much better as far as this activity is concerned. And my entire team is led by these girls now because they are the ones who are leading these activities. They are able to reach out to the actual women who are working in the field. So what is it that we are talking about? We are talking about a culture shift. Now, is it actually a culture shift? If we look at the culture that we are coming from, we are talking about Shiv and Shakti. Shiv and Shakti are considered as equals. They are not different. They have equal kind of Shakti, they have equal kind of powers, spiritual powers, so that they are able to take decisions and support each other in their activities on a daily basis. How can we do this in our lives? I think it is more important for us to understand whether we will be able to implement this in our lives, because I don't see most of us going to the villages and working with the women there. So how can we implement it in our lives? I think if we are able, in today's entire session group, if you are able to derive this for yourselves, I think the activity is worth it. Because if you are able to implement the diversity and inclusion in your personal life, I think we have managed to succeed. So take a moment. Tell me, how will you do it in your own life? How will you bring that inclusion in your personal life? And I would love to hear from the men here. And then I would hear from the women as to what are their expectations. Would you like to honor me by sharing some of those difficult answers? What should you, give me just one thing. What improvement can you bring in your personal life, your home, Yes.
Ma'am, usually when decisions are taken in my home, we men sits, we three brothers and fathers are like हमारी भाभी और माँ पीछे बैठी होती है, हम उन्हें कभी नहीं पूछते. But when the meetings get over and then I go to my mom and all, then I get nice ideas. Then when we sat together, we haven't solved any problem. But when I go to the mom, then I get a solution, the most best solution from my mom. And always I have, this is my dream that when I will build a company, I will have moms for problem solutions.
Very nice. Yes, somebody else? One more. Yes.
Ma'am, we discussed same from the morning when Dharana ma'am raised the question that there should be equal responsibility sharing within the family, male and female. Same put up by the Raju sir that until we change the mindset and upbringing of kids in the family that you are equally responsible for the outcomes in the family, till we can't bring the diversity. I feel
Absolutely. And what is more important, training the girl in the house or training the boy in the house? Which we have not even attempted or started doing till now. We have always, so nowadays all these campaigns you would see कि लड़की को अच्छे से पढ़ाओ, लड़की को बताओ कि वो ये कर सकती है, लड़की को बताओ कि उसको कराटे सीखना है and she has to become strong so that she can handle challenges. बट हमने अपने घर के लड़कों को कभी सिखाया क्या कि उनको रिस्पेक्ट करना चाहिए गर्ल्स को, right? So I think that change is very, very important, and that is what I want to tell you here. If this thing we are able to take back today, see, we have to care for everybody in the family. Today I had to be here, my husband prepared lunch. What's the big deal? हाँ, आप हंस रहे हो, ये भी गड़बड़ है. You know, this is wrong. Because it should be as normal as you doing it. And he prepared it with a lot of love. कि तुमको जाना है तो I am preparing it. I am sure your husbands, your brothers, your parents would be doing a lot of these things for you. But then only one or two of these activities is not going to take you very long in the entire supply chain. If you have to survive as women who are working, who are going to be fenders for the next generation, then I think that kind of a support is very essential at home, wherein you will take care, you will love, you will support in all activities. But the most important is respect. If you respect the other gender or the other community or the other group, when we were talking about that tribal woman, we could have left the tribals, ना छोड़ दो ना यार, इतने कम है, क्यों लोड लेना है उनके लिए. लेकिन we cannot leave them. They are also humans, and they also have the right to that basic humanitarian, basic respect. And this is what I am trying to bring into you here. So, who all now, I told you in the beginning, you will definitely be thinking that you want to go back and work with me in the villages. Who all want to do that? Chalo, my work is done. Alright. You want to say anything? You want to ask anything?
Ma'am, you showed us, how different it was while you were in Valsad and then once you moved to Uttar Pradesh, and when you initially when it was all the men. How difficult was it for you? What was challenging to change the mindset of the people? And I presume that in villages the mindset with regards to gender inequality would be much stronger as compared to urban India.
Absolutely. It's very difficult. In fact, let me take you back to when I joined work. When I joined work after my MBA, I started my career with Infosys. So I was working at Infosys and all, and then that there's this trend that everybody wants to do MBA and wants to grow in the organization. So I did my MBA from IRMA and I joined Amul. Amul is one of the most respected and very, very bright organizations to work with. You would get a lot of exposure and a lot of good quality work to do. So I was around 22 of us from our batch joined the organization, and everybody was given larger portfolios to handle. I was given a very, very small part of the activity to do, which was selling chocolates. At that point in time, chocolates, Amulka, was dying its natural death. It was just not happening. So I was given an opportunity to revive. I am very thankful that I got that opportunity, but what I am trying to say is that because they were not sure whether I will be able to survive in sales, because back then nobody used to join sales, as in the girls wouldn't join sales. So I was given an activity where if it doesn't happen, it's okay, you can just write it off. When I proved myself that I can do it much better than any other person in that team, it is then I started deriving my respect. And then I was given much larger portfolios to handle and much larger business to take care of. And the same thing has happened in our villages also. So these girls, when we hired these girls, I told you, let alone others, my team members were really worried. यार अब ये दो को भी संभालना पड़ेगा और इनका काम भी हमको करना पड़ेगा. But that is not what happened. These girls were very efficient. They used to come back from the field and cook also. They used to go to the field and command the group meetings. They used to go and command the farmers. They used to talk very nicely and collect the women in the villages. And when we saw results happening, the team leaders also were very happy. And they said, yes, this is very effective and we are able to deliver much better. So it has taken time. Even in the villages, women were a little shy to come out. But then these girls, when they approached and went to meet the actual worker with the cattle, then it is then that things started shaping up slowly. Thank you.
Thank you.